Welcome to Wine Library TV. I am your host, Gary Vaynerchuk, and this, my friends, is the Thunder Show, aka the internet's most passionate wine program, and it's still Dumpsville here in the office in New Jersey, in the Jets Nation, but we have to get over it, and we just didn't start off strong and never recovered. Had a good time in Pittsburgh, great people, gotta admit. And this is, listen, there's a billion Jet fans. Struggled with the Jet fans around, the Steeler fans around me. Was blown away by how much they cry about calls when the week before the Ravens holding call in the kickoff was the only reason they were in that game. So, anyway, struggled a little bit more so than Indy and Boston, believe it or not, with the lack of knowledge of the fans around me. But I'm sure it was just a bad luck play on that part. And, no question, a little sense of entitlement. Mott in Pittsburgh, but listen, that's what happens when you go to 147 Super Bowls. I guess they, so it's tough. Clearly, you can see I'm still a little bit bitter, but we're going to have to move on. Yesterday's bourbon episode was a classic, and I'd like to see all the comments. I also want to give a little shout-out. I always talk about a lot of the old classics, but there's a lot of people who've not gotten enough shout-outs on this show, and I want to start doing that. For example, big thank you to Slush Poppy, John Farin, and Costello, always jumping in and making comments, and I appreciate that. So it was good to see some of those names from yesterday's episode leaving comments. I appreciate it, and we will continue and stay focused on our march to 1,000 episodes right around the corner. Also, the 5-year anniversary. Even thinking about doing some weekend episodes and double headers to make the 1,000th episode land on February 21st, which is the 5-year anniversary. As a matter of fact, that is the question of the day. Should I double header up and do some weekend shows to have the 1,000th or the 999th, I think both are iconic, episode land on February 21st, which is the 5-year anniversary of Wine Library TV? That is the question of the day. I want to focus on Oregon. There is a new winery, Mott, zoom in here, Big Table Farm Wines, from winemaker Brian Marcy and his lovely wife, Claire Carver, who is the label designer, that is making enormous noise in Oregon. And I wanted to try their wines and just kind of get a sense of them. Just been hearing a lot of buzz about them. God, I gotta tell you. Okay. Man, the bourbon, took over the room still for a day later. It's crazy. Anyway, so I wanted to try their wines. I said, you know what, okay, I wanted to try these two. And I said, you know what, let's do another white and red from Oregon, make a little bit of an Oregon show. Saw Kellen Clemens warming up when Sanchez looked like he was hurt. Made me think of Oregon. That's where he went to school. And so here we are. So let's get right into it. No reason to wait. Now, Claire makes these unbelievable, Mike, can you zoom in here? Maybe you could see the viscosity or the thickness of these labels. Claire was the label designer. You can't make it out, Mont? Okay, no problem. For Beaufrere, Minor Family, some other ones. Just really nice, thick paper labels. Just gorgeous. Beautiful little flower here. This is their 2009 Riesling. $29 US. 45 cases produced. So absolutely no production whatsoever. Planted in the 1970s from a biodynamic vineyard. And I'm excited about trying this. Riesling, a varietal that I think has big potential in Oregon in general. Again, $29 and only 45 cases produced of this wine. Let's give it a snippy sniff. Now, the nice thing I like about this wine is right off the bat, looking at the alcohol content when I look at the label, 12.4. So really where Riesling should be. Just love that kind of alcohol content. Should not be too high. I think some people have taken it too ripe and too high. Nice little kind of artichoke meets lemons and maybe crushed up acorn on the nose. So pretty nose. Very bright, but I get kind of this nutty acorny thing going on. More acorny than nutty. And by the way, if you like white wine and you want to expand your nose, go out and get some acorns, crush them up, smell them. I'm finding them very common in certain wines, like this Riesling. It's got a little spritziness, a little smokiness as well. Let's give it a whirl. Not as much acid as I like in my Rieslings. It's nice, and I like the mouthfeel. There's some white flowers going on here, which are appealing. And most of all, I gotta say that the winemaking is extremely strong here. Brian Morrissey, who's the winemaker, worked at Blanquier. He worked under Helen Turley, so he's had some great pedigree and training. And it shows on this white wine, because from a quality standpoint of like its mid-palate transition to its finish, its structure, I like it quite a bit. The alcohol is under control. The acidity could be a little more for me, but I'm looking for crazy acid. I'm like a hippie from the 70s. I'm addicted to the acid. So for most people, I think they would probably like this. And don't forget, I'm at room temperature, and when it's colder, some of that stuff would act a little bit different. White flowers, a little bit of peach fuzz. I like the apple kind of thing going on here as well. And it's solid. To me, this is an 89-point wine. Wouldn't kick it out of bed, but I don't know if I'm putting the ring on it, like Beyonce says. So, you know, solid start. Maybe a hair disappointing, but I'm building up into the hype. Excited to see what happens from their Pinot Noir. Let's keep it moving. Penarash 2009 Oregon Viognier. This is the 09 Viognier. And Penarash is a beast of a producer. 14.5 alcohol content. 91 points J. Miller. 24 U.S. bones. It's aged in stainless steel. And let's see what's happening here. I'm a big fan of Penarash. I'm a big fan of Viognier. I think the Rhone white varietals are grossly underestimated. Let's snip it up. Love what's going on in this nose. I get a little banana peel with like a little spritzer. I feel like I'm smelling a mimosa. A little seltzer action with the banana peel. Like a banana spritzer in the morning. Very vibrant and fresh. I do get some pear slices here as well. And there's a little bit kind of like an oily component. It almost smells like I'm smelling virgin olive oil as well. Let's give it a whirl. This is Viognier. Executed perfectly. Very varietally correct on my palate. In a blind tasting, I nail this 9 out of 10 times. That one time I'm not paying attention. Just tastes exactly like Viognier should and would and could have, and I'm liking this. This one has even more acid going for it than most Viogniers that I come across. Definitely a little bit more focused and sharp than what I come across in the Rhone Valley, and maybe even more so than the Paso Robles and the kind of south play that we see out of California, Central Coast, that kind of area. So I'm enjoying this. I like the distinction and the cutting through the nice weight that this wine represents. Very, very pretty wine on the palate. There's almost like a, you know, an intriguing kind of Brussels sprout kind of characteristic. So there's some of that greenness. And really what comes to mind is a little mochi, which I think is really nice. And very smooth, very good wine. I'm a big fan of this wine. I'm scoring up 91 points. And as you can see, it's interesting. 89, 91. And my reactions are much all over the place. I think a lot of times when people buy into the reaction, you got to pay attention because I'm coming in with preconceived notions. I had such high hopes. Penarash, I kind of know makes solid wine, so good job, and I'm impressed. And I agree with J. Miller. This is a 91-point wine. And for 24 bucks, if you haven't had it, you should try it. Chardonnay fans, pay attention. Chardonnay fans, pay attention. Because you need to expand your palate base. And Viognier is the place to go. And Oregon is starting to step up. Like BJ Raji puts on the championship belt. They're looking to take that championship belt as the premier Viognier player in the United States. And Virginia's got a chance. I think California's got a shot. But pay attention. And Washington State has long been a player, but pay attention. You guys leaving? Oregon is making a move. Let's move on. Now, the rinse was light. Wow, real light. Almost rosé in color. Interesting. Again, beautiful, beautiful labeling and packaging. This is the Big Table Farm Carhill Vineyard Pinot Noir 2009, 45 US dollars, 94 cases produced. Oldest certified organic vineyard in Oregon, planted in the 1970s. Let's see what's going on here. It says label here, depicts of a 1947 Ford truck with the grapes that came in. Very nice. You got the label on it? It was pretty. Really great labels. Now, the first thing I'm noticing, first and foremost, this is extremely light. Even for a Pinot Noir, it is pretty darn light, which is intriguing and catches my attention. Let's give a sniffy sniff. Nice nose. Beautiful, beautiful, like red flowers. I get a little bit of that stinky, earthy thing that I love, but it blows off quickly. Great strawberry fruit. Very Pinot Noir. On its nose, again, varietally correct on the nose, much like the Viognier on the body. This smells Pinot all day, baby. All day. Let's give it a whirl. Good focus. I gotta say the alcohol spikes a little bit for me on the mid palate. Only 13.7, which makes me question a hair of the fruit. I like this wine. It's nice, but I'm getting a little bit caught up in the hype. Wine and Spirits had it in the top 100. The Prince of Pinot loved it. People have been buzzing about it. I hear they're tremendous people, so I think I'm being affected a little bit of the way I'm coming in, but I'm fighting strong for the Vaniacs out there, because that's, kind of what I got to do. And don't forget, everybody's palate's different. For some unknown reason, these wines are not blowing me away. They're very solid, and I would never question. I'm not appalled by the $45 price tag. And price tag, not just price tag. There's not just something here that's really bowling me over. I think there's a lot of Pinots that charge this price point that are not as good as this wine, so I got no problem. But to be very honest, this is an 87-point wine for my palate. And I apologize because I'm excited about Big Table Farm in general, and I think that everybody watching here should probably join the mailing list because there's so much hype, and I have a feeling, based on all the buzz I hear, there's a lot of people out there that prefer this wine to my palate, and that's just the way it's going to be, and that's the way it's going to be. Archery Summit, 2007 Willamette Valley Pinot Noir Premier Cru, 13.9 alcohol, $40 US, 90 points wine and spirits, 100% Pinot Noir. This is one of the iconic Oregon producers. Everybody kind of knows Archery Summit and respects it. I'm excited about seeing what happens here. $40, 40 bones, sniffy sniff. Interestingly, a very different style on the nose. Again, darker, a little bit bigger, 13.9 alcohol, slightly higher, just 0.2. But this is very smoky on the nose, very smoky. There's like a forest fire. Smokey the Bear's about to pop out of my nose and being like, hey kids, kind of just a whole thing going on here. Very charred-like fruit. It's almost like burnt cherries going on. Let's give it a whirl. Solid, people always claim that my scores are lower on a Monday after a Jets loss. Maybe there's a much bigger carryover to what happened this Sunday in Pittsburgh, because this wine's not blowing me away either. I think Wine and Spirits is a good 2 points ahead on this. This has an interesting kind of rhubarb, meaty, gamey kind of thing going on, but the alcohol is kind of, and tannins are bitter on this wine, to be honest with you, and I'm going to score this wine 87 points as well. It's less delicious than the Big Table Farm is, so there's even like an appalling kind of, not appalling, but a dislike in the flavor profile. As a matter of fact, I'm going to score it 86. I mean, I got to start calling a spade a spade. But that being said, I like the body a little bit more. I do like the fact it's a little heavier, even though I like my Pinots light. It's not about being heavy, it's about being filled out. And I think it's well structured in a lot of ways, but just not appealing flavors. And in general, kind of mess show for a place of the world that I love. And the Viognier really steals the game, and that's that. I asked the question a day. Should I land one of those iconic episodes on the 5-year anniversary? And again, Slush Party Slush Puppy, Costello, John Farron. More shout-outs to come for all of you that are leaving comments, because it means a tremendous amount to me, and the support this community gives to me means a whole lot to me, and I hope you like the shows, and I continue to sit here, even though there's massive hype, and I'm pumped about the category. I call them like I see them, and I always will. Not to say, by the way, that I'm not wrong, because I'm probably wrong often. You, with a little bit of me, we're changing the wine world, whether they like it or not.